Good afternoon, morning, evening or night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another little discussion on a media.
Just a
little one. It's going to be just a short video, I reckon.
5-10 minutes, right. That is?
Yeah. That ballpark, anyway. We're going to be answering the question, is Mass Effect 2 as good as they say? And if
big ask.
It is. It's a big question. And if you like our content and you want access a week early, then go check out our Patreon. We appreciate everyone over there. But if not, you still get the video over on YouTube.
It's up to you to do the rest.
I'm joined by my brother, my friend,
That's
my
me.
Blonde-haired,
Turian-eyed,
Turian-voiced dude right here, Alex.
Hi. I'm ready to go in.
You ready to go in? Where are we starting off then?
Will you introduce yourself as well?
I'm Jamie. I mean, everybody already knows that.
Yeah,
so.
everyone knows.
Everything that's on this game is just light years ahead of what we did last time.
So we already did Mass Effect 1. Because the Legendary Edition came out. But we figure doing the whole trilogy in one episode, stupid. Dumb idea. What's the point?
Yeah.
What are you going to cover in that we wouldn't otherwise with an episode dedicated to each one. And we found that first game to be quite difficult to talk about because it is such an open, broad game. Trying to figure out even where to begin with that was kind of tough, but I feel Mass Effect 2 is much easier to talk about.
It's a much more concise package of an experience than Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It's way more focused. I think it knows what it wants to be.
Exactly.
In fact, so I wrote something down, which is like these thoughts I've been having about this game. In not just as it exists independently, but as it exists in the trilogy, which is especially important now considering its new packaging. Okay, what are you doing? Why are you making that?
He was chewing on his foot, so I've put my foot over his feet.
But yeah, now we have the whole trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The place it sits and the way they design the second one is like really interesting to me. And just their approach to it. They're like, because they went in for Mass Effect 2. I think I might just have to go into it because I don't know where else I could start. I think the biggest problem with Mass Effect 2 is how good it is. I think Mass Effect 2 is too good that they basically made it impossible to make a sequel to. In a satisfying way, considering the fact they had 2 years. I think with the systems they decided to hone in on for the second game, to make something continuing it would require something that I can't even think of, some X factor, some redesign, going back to the drawing board, because I feel like they nail it and they spread it about as thin as it can go in 2, including that, the combat, just the way everything is designed, the way the whole game is designed around one mission, effectively. And it's kind of worked backwards from that point, that being Suicide Mission. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that idea out there just for now, because I've been thinking about that a lot, but if we want to reel it back to like the basic...
Yeah, if we go over the basic plot of the game. So following on from Mass Effect 1, you've defeated a Reaper on the Citadel, being the hub of the galaxy for all the different aliens and stuff that are hanging out there. And the game opens on this just ludicrous, mind-boggling set piece sort of...
I mean, your character is killed.
Yeah. Through some of the way the visuals were presented to you, you walk through your ship from the first game as it's all being destroyed, and you get to like the main deck, and the whole like roof of the ship has been blasted off, and you're looking out into space. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an impactful opening.
Yeah,
for sure. Are we just going to go straight into like just everything, like as it comes up? Because I mean, that's already
plot-wise, yeah.
Yeah, plot-wise. Okay, if we're just delving in, I mean, as far as things I don't actually enjoy that much about the game, it's not the killing of Shepard. It's, I guess, the way they show it. I feel like there's a way they could have ended with Shepard dying in some way, having his body like hurtling through space, but I don't know if it necessarily had to. I know it looks cool, his like body going into the atmosphere and him like burning up.
Yeah.
And then like later on you're supposed to believe that they like stitched his body back together somehow, or they recovered something. They must have recovered some physical matter and rebuilt him somehow. And I just feel like it would have made more sense if it was like his body in space that was like lost or recovered instead of rocketing down into.
They explicitly say that he's not a clone, so they didn't just find like a bit of DNA and reconstruct him. No, they brought the same dude back, the same dude that has gone through a planet's atmosphere, and then it like accelerated into the ground and just like.
Well, surely it would just be burnt to a crisp.
Well, yeah, in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Unless the Mass Effect 1 armor, maybe if he had.
Maybe there's some lore stuff
the
with the
Colossus
armor
from the DLC.
Yeah, maybe I didn't think about
him.
the lore side with that. But I guess that is what bothers me about it, because Mass Effect 1 really was not that style of the way it worked. It seemed a bit more tied up in like the kind of nerdy science of it, whereas this is like almost like an action movie opening.
Yeah.
Where the answers, you do get a little bit more here and there. There's a little segment in Mass Effect 3 that expands on the Lazarus Project a little bit. But I never feel like I get a proper explanation for that whole setup as much as I enjoy like what follows because of it. Just the death thing specifically is quite weird.
Yeah, I sort of understand why they needed it for story purposes, to tell the story they wanted to with Mass Effect 2. I don't really know how else they could have done it, but I do definitely agree with you. It's just a bit too extreme. They just turned it up to 11 when it was already at 10, and 10 would have been fine. Yeah,
there are a few story beats kind of like that feel like they're suffering because of the overall scope of the game. I actually think the main plot of Mass Effect 2 is probably the weakest out of the three. Just the main plot.
Maybe.
If we're just talking about the collector plot. Is he doing it again? Why don't you go do that downstairs or something? You have to do in the Mass Effect video. Yeah, that main plot, that collector plot. This is another thing. All the like major negatives in my mind are at the forefront for me, because I've played this game so many times. I know all the stuff I really like about it, so going back with a more critical eye, the stuff that I don't like is standing out more, because I just liked all of it before without even thinking. But yeah, that main collector plot, because the new kind of thrust of this story is that there's like a new faction of enemies, the collectors. They're like these insectoid creatures that are going around abducting colonies of humans and doing who knows what with them. They retreat back into what's called the Omega-4 relay, which is an awesome idea. Yeah. It's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle, but in space. It's just
so the whole galaxy in Mass Effect is connected by these relays where you can sort of jump from system to system. And the Omega-4 relay is one of these that sends you to the edge of a black hole, and nobody has ever come back from it.
Yeah.
Apart from this group of
the collectors just reside in there somewhere. Yeah. In like the ship wreckage.
Too close.
Yeah, that stuff, it has its intrigue, and it almost seems more like it's written for that first time you're experiencing it, because a lot of the like reveals and stuff, they're not as, I don't know, they don't really hold much emotion or anything. It seems like it's mostly for a reveal and to be dark and scary, because I find the collectors to be, I don't know, they're terrifying. I actually think they're like a creepy ass enemy that you're fighting, and it's revealed down the line that they are linked to the Reapers. Otherwise this whole game would feel like totally off to the side and irrelevant otherwise. But yeah, I do like the collectors and where it goes. I just think about things that were missed that I really wish were implanted in there to set up things in Mass Effect 3. Because you got to think of the game as a trilogy and standalone. Because this isn't really a problem, I think, as a standalone, but it's more...
I think Mass Effect 3 is impacted more by stuff that's missing from Mass Effect 2 than Mass Effect 2 is.
Because I don't feel that way. I don't feel like in the transition from 1 to 2, it's like a completely different thing from 2 to 3.
Yeah. It feels much more natural going 1 to 2 than 2 to 3.
Yeah, it felt like they had a bunch of stuff they like obviously needed to fix, and they had like a really clear like, yep, we're fixing this and like improving all of this stuff. And then by the time we got to at the end of 2, it's like, well, we got the story we got to finish, but
everything else has peaked.
Yeah, including things like, there are 2 major things I would suggest that would, I think, just make this story sit so much better in the trilogy for me. I wish they somehow managed to integrate the Crucible into the story of Mass Effect 2. Yeah,
that's what I was alluding to with the Mass Effect 3.
Oh, really?
Comment.
Yeah. So in Mass Effect 3, there's kind of a plot device, a MacGuffin thing that's introduced, like in a really awkward way at the beginning of the game that really should have been set up sooner, and it is linked to the Protheans didn't make it or design it, but they didn't know about it. So they could have worked that in because the collectors are revealed to be Protheans. There was a way they probably could have done that, but I don't know if they had the planning going that far forward. What was with you, boy? What was actually your problem?
Yeah, that it does damage Mass Effect 3 because the timeliness of how it's introduced in Mass Effect 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do wish they'd had the foresight to have that in Mass Effect 2, because now more than ever you have to look at all 3 as a whole. I think it's fair considering the fact it was marketed on this idea that it's like that the games are linked, the story is continuous, the choices carry over. Yeah, we were watching a like a little documentary about like on YouTube. Mass Effect 2, and they're talking about Mass Effect 3 in Mass Effect 2. So stuff like this, like they really should. And like you had to have planned out at least the Geth and Krogan arc stuff. That is too baked in to the whole thing. Yeah, we went a bit off course there, but back to like the progression of the story. Yeah, because we're talking about the collectors and the way that goes. Yeah. Well, of course, the framing is no longer you being a Spectre, which is kind of like a space cop, because you're brought back by the Elusive Man who runs a private company. Basically, he's basically like Microsoft in space. He's like UKIP in space. Yeah, they're like nationalists. They're human extremists. Human extremists. And if you've done all the side stuff in Mass Effect 1, you will know them. And this is something I wish the side content in Mass Effect 1 was better, because you don't really get the sense in Mass Effect 1 that Cerberus is this like... That would have been a cool approach if more of the side stuff in 1 was all about Cerberus or something. Yeah. Like if you were just finding weird like outposts of like testing going on and stuff like that. Yeah, there's like one case of that in Mass Effect 1, and it really doesn't seem that bad. It's just a hindsight thing. Yeah. I'm sure they would have loved to. But it's a cool idea. So now instead of being the space cop, you're like a space... I don't know, PI renegade, like working. Well, you're working for the bad guys, effectively. You're working for a bad guy. Yeah, one of the bad guys, which I know some people don't like because they prefer the neutral nature of being a Spectre, and that you're going into conversations without there being any sort of morality swaying you one way, as opposed to working for Cerberus and there's not much moral greyness in terms of like, especially when you have the context of 3, like they're just straight up evil, like they're bad guys. It's supposed to be a bit more grey in 2. They're supposed to, using characters like Miranda and Jacob, try and humanize them a bit more, try and make you understand their side. And I think the fact that they're like human extremists is like removes it from our reality to a point where like it's about aliens and shit fighting. So. Yeah. Because if it was like like actual white supremacist, in space corporation, then that wouldn't really fly. So you can be more like, well, I'm a human. Yeah, we'll stick together or whatever. Like as your shepherd, you're trying to figure out like, what is their like goal? And but at the same time, I think the greyness comes from how you sort of, whether you accept like, I'm just a Cerberus guy now. Or if you sort of use Cerberus to complete your goal. Because in the universe, even though everything has happened on the Citadel, they've been attacked by the Geth and a Reaper, people just sort of brushed it off. pretended like it never happened, and they didn't want to think about it.
There's a whole thing in Mass Effect 3 about that, because of course the war's going on, and they're just talking about like no one cares. Like, there's like a war going on.
Yes,
this kind of thing.
And that's some of the best stuff from Mass Effect. The politics within it.
Yeah, the mystery element, like the private megacorp mystery element, because the elusive man, you get like nothing on him, which is perfect.
Yeah, he's elusive.
You're constantly questioning like what are you actually trying to get out of this? What is your true motivations? And a lot of the stuff he says, like he was true on, like from his perspective. I mean, he's not lying to you. From what he's saying is basically the truth. He's just so extreme.
Yeah, but even from just Mass Effect 2 alone, apart from some stuff way towards the end, he seems quite reasonable. Being an antagonist.
Yeah.
It makes
because he's not the major antagonist. He's just someone that's like gone too far in one way of thinking. And because they're like a private company thing, they have a lot of power. They're able to whip up these dossiers and all these characters you need, so you can build a team to take through the Omega for Relay.
Which then becomes the driving force of the story. Is
because collectors are only targeting humans.
Yeah,
so it's a human issue. Well, the galaxy at large is ignoring it because it's specifically only a human issue. So.
And it's certain like colonies not in the
they're not in any major spaces.
So they're just being ignored. Your mission is to take down the collectors, and to get there you've got to amass a team, and that is the bulk of the game. It's
Suicide Squad. We're building a team. We're going in.
Yeah,
but I'll need a team, a good one.
Yeah, it is. It's Guardians of the Suicide Galaxy.
Yeah. Because that's what it boils down into. The main missions, there aren't that many, to be honest. As far as collector, in regards to the collector story stuff,
there's 5.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
you count in the Joker bit.
No.
Maybe we should go through that then, the main few missions, and just get this Reaper collector thing out of the way.
Yeah.
Because it is the main story.
So the first mission after you're brought back to life, after you've had the whole robot encounter on the space station, you go down to a planet that's just been attacked by the...
Yeah, you just missed an invasion.
Yeah. And
Tali's there.
Yeah, you bump into Tali.
Wait, Shepard?
Who we'll talk about each character more.
We'll go through each character shortly, after we've done the main plot.
This mission just exists to set up the collectors. There's like camera footage that Aquarian is...
Keep them mysterious, a bit scary.
Yeah. And you see that humans are being taken.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Which is a creepy concept in and of itself. They're not killing, they're coming down to take you away. Yeah. And they like freeze you with these like bugs that paralyze you. So they can just whip you off and just fly off. It's a creepy idea.
So they set all that up. Then you have to get some more crew members.
Because you need to get Mordin so he can develop something so you can go against those stunning bugs.
You need a scientist to come up with like a vaccine.
So and then you get the first major encounter with them.
Still can't calibrate the targeting matrix? Those defense towers are useless if we don't figure it out.
That's the one with where either Caden or Ashley comes in.
That's right. Yeah, so then it sort of establishes something that will continue into Mass Effect 3 of you're either Caden or Ashley, whoever you saved. You meet them, they're glad to see you, but they're pretty pissed off. They're pissed that you...
Multiple characters are angry at you for like working with Cerberus.
Yeah. But these two in particular.
Yeah, and part of me wonders if the reason they are so relegated in 2 and 3 is because of that choice in 1. So they can't design...
Yeah, it's like a split.
Yeah.
So then they had to get 2 different voice actors to do the same.
It starts getting crazy complicated.
Different. Yeah.
And that's when we get to Suicide Mission, we'll talk about that.
I do love the touch that when you talk to Caden or Ashley, the Mass Effect 1 menu music starts playing.
Yeah. I agree with that.
It makes you, just through association with, hopefully, your good times with Mass Effect 1, for the most part, it makes you like the character more, just because it's like familiarity.
Yeah, and you don't really get any major sort of reveals at that point yet. It's more the...
Yeah, you just get a sort of a win, because you managed to save some people from being taken.
You have a boss fight with one of those... I don't know what they are, to be honest.
Like robot.
That's one of my questions.
Crabs.
What is that bug thing leading the collectors? The one that Harbinger like controls. Because I thought like the normal collector ant things were like Protheans.
Yeah.
So what is that one that's in the ship? Because it's like a straight up bug. It's like not a humanoid. It's got like loads of little legs.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like a bug thing. It looks like one of those flying robot things that is the last boss on that level.
Yeah.
About. Maybe some lore person can fill me in. I don't know on that one.
Yeah, just some Reaper stuff. No, it's got to be a collector, because it's like being controlled.
Yeah, it's like a creature being...
Yeah.
It's a creature.
Maybe it's the Queen Prothean. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a question mark.
Yeah, that gets set up. And then throughout, like...
Oh, yeah, the whole... Like the controlling indoctrination thing.
Yeah, the
collectors.
Didact. I'm pretty sure it's voiced by the Didact.
It is from Halo 4.
Yeah, so periodically when you're fighting a collector, suddenly one will be chosen to be directly controlled by Sovereign, and it gains like...
Yeah, because they reveal that the husks are not a Geth thing.
Yeah. Which is quite an important...
Yeah. Because they hadn't really explained the way the Reapers operate at this point, so it was all mystery, and is all mystery if you don't know where it's going. Is the next major one then going on the collector's ship, the Trap?
Yes.
Which is sort of the first major reveal, I guess. That's when you find out that the collectors are Protheans.
Only one race is known to have this structure, the Protheans.
I thought the Protheans vanished 50,000 years ago.
It's one of my, as far as like story and presentation goes, it's one of my favorite missions, I think. That like cavern that you're fighting in as those platforms are coming in with that music.
Need a little help here, Edie.
The collectors have a really strong like identity with their music and their ship, and the way every time they come in, that theme starts playing.
Yeah, it's incredible, and they're like truly alien. You know, you could never picture a human making this weird, like, rocky... They're like, what's that bug? I don't know, is it termites? They like, build structures.
It is very much like a termite, like...
Yeah, it's like it looks like a bug made it, but if a bug could make a spaceship...
If they're spacefaring,
Yeah.
Makes them very creepy. Because they got their wings, they, like, flap around...
Yeah, they fly around. And this mission also has the Elusive Man sort of fuck you over for the first time.
That's right, yeah.
Because he implies that... Oh no, he straight up tells you the Turians disabled this collector ship. Go check it out. Fully knowing that they didn't, and the collectors just set a trap. And made it really obvious. And the Elusive Man intentionally deceives you to make you go and check it out. The way he explains it away is cool, because he's like, you're Shepard, come on.
Yeah, did it stop you? I think so.
Yeah.
Because that's his whole thing. It's like he will do anything. He'll stop.
Yeah, he's totally...
There's no, like, barriers with him. There's no point he'll say, okay, that's too far.
Yeah, he's Renegade Shepard gone more renegade.
Do you know anything about his lore?
I know he fucks a lot. And smokes a lot.
He does smoke a lot, but I think his lore is... Someone in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong. I think his is related to the First Contact stuff as well, as to why he hates like aliens and stuff. Because I think he had a brother. I think his brother was like killed by Saren in the First Contact War or something. It's all linked to that.
Cool.
I just think his motivation being linked to the Contact War is cool, because it's like the first time aliens are fighting humans.
Yeah, And
similar
that makes
to
for a good
Ashley.
parallel for Saren in the sequel.
Yeah, it's
There's-
cool. The first villain is Sarah, and then the elusive man. It's like both sides of the conflict.
both sides have good guys and bad guys.
Yeah, really, really cool idea.
Yeah, awesome. That is something I just want to touch on. This game is easily as good as Mass Effect 1 for the world building stuff.
Yeah, if not better, just purely because of how much there is and the quality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the design of the game was that they didn't want to necessarily have side quests. They wanted the side quests to be the same as the main quests. So the whole, like, just playing through the game is the story.
Yeah.
So we're, like, breaking it down into segments, but that's not, like, the way the game is played. It's just easier to talk about this way. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that collector mission in the ship. It is ridiculous on the hardest difficulty on 360. It wasn't as hard. It was still one of the harder points on.
Yeah, I think the previous mission was harder. The one with the boss fight thing.
Yeah, but I think that's a really good mission, that one.
And then I think the next mission is the Reaper IFF. So this is the final story mission before Suicide Mission.
Yeah,
And
but it's kind of a two-part thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're basically going in there to... It's the only mission, really, that affects your actual goal.
Yeah.
I guess
there's
you
like
could
a Reaper
argue,
in space, isn't there?
Yeah,
Like
you're
the
going
body of a
into
Reaper.
a derelict Reaper, and you're finding a thing that will let you go through the Omega 4 relay.
Yeah.
But along the way, you meet the last character that you can get into your roster, being Legion. Geth, one of the enemies from the first game.
Shepard Commander.
Such an important character to just make so much stuff fit into place.
Yeah.
More so in Mass Effect 3. Because I always lament that in 2, that you get him so late in the game, so you can't like do that much other stuff. Because if you don't immediately do his loyalty after the IFF mission, then your crew starts dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get back to Legion. But what starts after that mission, it starts a countdown timer, and you get that admittedly funny cutscene where every crew member on the Normandy who is crucial has to like leave on a shuttle.
Yeah.
So they can have a fun set piece thing. And that's what I mean, going back to earlier about just in the main story, little things that have to like just conveniently happen for it to even work.
I thought though, playing it this time, if you put yourself into the mindset of someone that's never
which I can do very I remember playing this game for the first time so clearly. It's so memorable.
So the excuse is because you've got this IFF, it's you can't fly the ship anywhere. So you got to take your whole team and then choose who your squad's going to be on this mission you're going on. The mission isn't real, and the countdown that you alluded to earlier, it isn't told to you. You're not told that anything is going to happen. So after a set amount of time, your entire team flies off, and for the first and only time in the whole trilogy, you control a character other than Shepard. And you take control of Joker, the pilot of
the glass bone guy.
Yeah, he's the guy from SpongeBob with the paper skin and glass bones. And it's like a stealth section. You've got to navigate through the Normandy using the AI to help guide you. The ship AI, I mean.
Yeah.
So that you can like flush those guys out of the ship. And
which is such a great scene. I think it's worth it for that. That shuttle silliness is worth it for the scene.
Absolutely. No, it's actually mind-blowing to me, because this is something you can't... You just couldn't do it to the same effect in any other medium.
What were we saying in the video about Mass Effect 1 about reincorporating a space you've been using in like a different tone almost? Because it's like, it's the safety hub. It's the place, there's never combat, there's never anything that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And the whole crew, literally the whole crew is kidnapped in front of your eyes, and it's horrifying. I remember being like really scared playing that the first time.
No,
I wasn't expecting this.
It's like
normally
a stealth
I'm
horror moment.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
There is actually quite a darkness to Mass Effect 2.
For sure.
It's like way more violent. And their enemies, just what they're doing. It does just get darker and darker.
And you're used to playing as Shepard, who is just the most powerful being in the galaxy.
Yeah, like the most ultimate human.
Yeah, he's just a Chad beyond. And then you switch to Joker, who can barely like walk down a hallway.
Yeah, they chose the physically most restrained character.
Yeah, which I think is genius.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had that plan from the get-go. Why would you have the pilot have this random like?
I think that
disease?
is cool because it's like his body is physically weak, but he's in the most powerful and he has control over the coolest ship in the galaxy or whatever.
So then, yeah, you manage to, as Joker, get the collectors off your ship, and then Shepard returns, and it's such a cool moment to get back to the ship as Shepard, and all the characters you've had around you throughout the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they added this one character who tells you when you get new messages.
Yeah,
tells
Kelly.
you when there's like shit going on between two of your squad mates. I feel like she was added just so you would notice that they are gone.
There's a huge thing missing, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a real quietness to the ship after that mission.
Yeah, it's creepy, like going around it after everyone's gone.
Yeah, and you get the sense that like this shit just got real.
Yeah, it raises the stakes.
Yeah, big time.
Right before you're going into that final attack. Or assault.
and it's not explicitly told to you. They mention that like we should probably go save them as soon as possible, but we need to get everything done.
Yeah.
Before we
it
do
says like, which do you want to prioritize, like being ready or saving the crew?
Yeah,
thing.
And if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth playthrough, you're going to be ready.
Yeah,
and I wish I could have my first playthrough again, because that moment it's a real immersive choice. If you haven't done all the loyalty missions,
if you don't know it's coming,
then it's what do I choose?
Because you're right about that first playthrough being the most unpredictable, exciting one. Because it makes Suicide Mission more exciting too.
Oh, for sure.
Because when I first did all that stuff the first time, I was not ready. I didn't know the way the game worked. So like Suicide Mission was like all over the place. The whole thing, it felt like a real struggle.
Yeah, and you sort of need to use your knowledge of the characters to choose the roles in Suicide Mission.
Yeah, because you do the reprior FF, you get your ship back, and then it is your choice to go through the Omega 4 relay, which starts another thing about it just starts the Suicide Mission segment, which is the conclusion of the game, and it's also the most, I guess, modular in terms of just how many choices you have and like how many roles, like all the characters you built up, like the choices you have to make and what you want them to do, and if you didn't like engage with certain shops or unlock certain things, get certain upgrades for your ship or whatever, things will go wrong.
Damage report!
Suicide Mission is such a great way to conclude this style of game. Because you're building up your team the whole game, and then they came up with a way and a reason and a effective way of getting all those characters involved into it somehow. So it does feel like doing that heist, that get together character moment.
Yeah, it makes you feel, because the problem with so many stuff like Final Fantasy and Mass Effect 1, just RPGs where you have all these different characters you can choose from, but throughout the whole game you're just using two of them.
Yeah.
And the way they did it in Mass Effect 2, your whole team feels important. The reason you were doing everything feels important.
And that thing you're saying about they don't explicitly say what you should do, and they actually trick you by having certain characters say things like, I'll do that, or like I'd be a good choice for that, when actually they would be a bad choice. They will fail and you will lose if you actually listen to them, because they're being too cocky. They don't actually have that strength, and there are better choices for each of the roles.
Someone could sneak in through this ventilation shaft here.
Practically a suicide mission. I volunteer.
That whole segment from the beginning, just going through the payoff of going through the relay and seeing what's like the ship graveyard, and like the drone attack, and then you have like a little boss fight with the drone inside the ship. It's just like never ending with that level.
Yeah,
it's just so much fun.
It might be the best last mission from any game ever made.
Mm-hmm. Another thing which majorly hurts Mass Effect 3 because it never gets back to those heights. Yeah, because I remember like choosing the wrong characters the first time I did it for like to guard the door, like sending Mordin off and he got killed, and it's like because I think any character can, if you choose the wrong one, you have the full list of characters, like side characters that you've collected, and you can pick any of them for any of the roles. So as long as you ain't Googling, you know.
Yeah, the game does sort of give you a hand when
it's like,
it will be
pick
like
a tech expert or whatever.
Yeah, who do you want to be a hacker? And then you like scroll through them, and if you just give yourself like 2 minutes to read the bios, it's Legion is a extreme hacker. Genius. Yeah. So it's nothing too complex, but the beauty of it is just the bit of doubt constantly in your mind, like even though I knew when I was playing through it, I knew like every choice I made was correct. There's always that tension, that bit of doubt, that tension throughout the whole mission of what if someone dies?
And it all concludes with the Human Reaper boss fight.
Yeah.
Not just any Reaper.
Which I guess is the final reveal in regards to the collectors and what they've been doing with all the human bodies. Is you find out it's the way the Reapers reap, is when they're collecting the bodies, they're using that genetic matter to build it into a Reaper that is usually in the form of whatever they've reaped.
Yeah, which I don't know how I feel about it, because in Mass Effect 3 every single Reaper looks the same.
There are a couple variants.
Are there?
Yeah.
Does it ever get fully explained, the Human Reaper thing? Because they don't have a full explanation for it in Mass Effect 2. In
my understanding is that, I think I mentioned this in the first video, I thought it was after the events of like the first game.
Yeah.
Like humans overcoming the Reapers in some way. And then they're like targeting humans, and they're like almost not revenge, because they're not like a vengeful thing, but
I thought it's more like
they're trying to preserve life. Like the Reapers,
right?
And it's so they're in their mind, in their existence or whatever, taking the DNA and eternalizing it in the form of like a robotic thing in its image is like the way to keep it going, I guess.
Right.
But you don't get that much in 2.
No.
And it's not like in 3 they're dropping human Reapers down or something. They never...
Yeah, because they're making just one. It's not like they've got like 50 in the works. It's just one.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure they only make about one Reaper, like from a cycle.
Right.
I think each cycle is a Reaper.
Okay.
Again, I could be wrong on that. There's a lot of fucking information about this franchise Mordin in my head right now.
But you get given the final, after the boss fight, you get given the final choice of, do you just destroy this collector base, including the Reaper, or do you let the Elusive Man take it? And his reasoning is this tech could bump like the human race just to the top of the food chain, just immediately. But this is another one of those choices that I think is just a bit silly.
I'm struggling to think what impact it has on.
I don't think
3 at all.
I think it just affects your galactic readiness or whatever.
Right.
It just negatively impacts that a bit. And yeah, I can't think of a reason to give the Elusive Man.
Yeah, he's never convinced me, personally. I'm glad the choice is there, I guess.
Yeah, because his reason is racism, basically.
He wants to do what like the Protheans did, and just like rule with an iron fist and be the...
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, if you are role-playing as Shepard, why would you do that? I'm not a big fan of those choices in the Mass Effect games.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's just a bit too... It's too binary. Too obvious.
But I remember when playing Mass Effect 2, waiting for 3 to come out, feeling like this has got to be like one of the choices or something, right? This has got to be one of the big ones. But it doesn't do anything really from memory. So yeah, that's the main plot. In relation to the Reapers, there's the Arrival DLC. But aside from that, that's the whole Reaper thing in 2. And I when you do just look at it by itself, it's like whatever. But I think the fact it is part of what the rest of this game is, and how it's kind of trickled out every few missions. Then you get like a new major mission type thing.
Yeah,
I think Mass Effect 2 is like all about variety. It's so varied location-wise. You just never feel like you're going to the same place. And if you are, it's normally for like fun reasons. It's like, yeah, I'm going back to Omega, or So with the main plot out the way, the other huge chunk of the game is this squad, this Suicide Squad, and the dossiers and collecting the characters is the real meat of the game. Honestly, is collecting these characters, and every single one of them has a loyalty mission too, which is like their own story, their own side story. So you can just spend tens of hours doing that, and everyone's gonna have their own like favorites from the cast and crew. Wait, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
12 characters.
12 characters, which is so many.
Yeah, and I think out of the whole roster, you can only really say one is, I just think, a bad character.
Okay, I'm curious which one you're going to say. I actually put a cross by the ones I think are crucial and the ones which are expendable. Are
we doing it in order of like when you get them?
I did it in order of the way it's presented in game. Like that order of characters. It starts with Zaeed, who was, when it came out, a DLC, like a day one DLC thing. He doesn't actually have like a mission where you get him. He's just there on Omega, in the like entryway. He just goes on your ship and he has his loyalty mission. Yeah,
he feels like a day one DLC. He just is. His loyalty mission is he helped start a merc group in the
ones from
universe.
the Blue Suns or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, he's just sort of like a tough guy. The problem I have with both DLC characters in the game, a huge part of the enjoyment in this game, in particular for me, was checking in almost after every mission, checking in with my squad.
New dialogue
on the ship, and just hearing them talk about various things.
Yeah, you can't do that with Zaeed or Kasmumi.
Yeah, and it's a huge missed opportunity. You've got no chance to bond with that character. If in Suicide Mission, if Zaeed died, for me, I don't think I'd really care.
Yeah, same. We actually mentioned Kasumi, so I wouldn't mind just jumping to her, because I feel she's just boxed into a similar thing. Was there anything about Zaeed's loyalty mission that you liked?
I quite like the
choice is quite fun in that one.
The choice is good, especially because I've been doing a mostly Renegade run.
Yeah, I was Paragon
through the games. So the choice is he wants revenge, but if he gets his revenge, it'll be at the expense of some
like a mining facility. Yeah.
So you get the choice of, if you've got high enough Paragon, I think you can convince him to save the people. And that satisfies him in some way. I don't know, how does it work in Paragon?
From memory, he lets him go. He lets him get away. Damn you, Shepard. But if you have high enough Paragon, he's like, yeah, whatever. Let's go do suicide mission.
Yeah, that just screams DLC to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Totally. But in the Renegade version, I was just like, yeah, the mission is to kill this guy, so that's what we're going to do.
Try, you son of a bitch.
Kasmumi then, she's similar in that she doesn't have like a mission where you get her.
Mhm.
She's just there in the Citadel, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, it's
Citadel.
And her loyalty mission's sort of like a heist. It's a heist gimmick. Each one of these characters is like a different spin on something. Like you got the assassin character, you got the mercenary character, you got the
Doctor.
all these different like archetypes.
Yeah.
So Kasumi's the thief.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what did you think of her loyalty heist thing?
I thought it was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with the mission itself. It's the way they try to make you care. It just doesn't work. Because her story is about her like lover. Yeah,
is dead, but left behind this like lockbox.
Mm-hmm.
That contains his memories, and she's got to like.
Yeah, but it also contains some like information that should be destroyed or something.
Yeah, so she's got to like make the decision of like letting go or not to.
Yeah, moving on or staying attached.
Yeah,
and it's that aspect that felt really weak.
It's just so rushed, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can talk to her on the ship, not like the actual main cast of characters. You just sort of interact with a painting on the wall, and she's like, "Yeah, me and that guy."
Yeah, Zaeed does the same thing.
Totally into. Yeah, and they give you backstory that way. It just doesn't work. And then when
this is just straight up thanks to DLC carving. Like it just affects the design so much. You can't integrate it deeply into the game.
No.
It has to just work as a little add-on thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But to me, those are probably two of the weakest characters.
They're probably the weakest.
Like you could take both of them out, and I don't really think anything would be lost.
Yeah, the game was designed that way. The game was designed for them to not.
But including in 3 as well, because a bunch of these characters come back in 3.
Mm-hmm.
Zaeed and Kasumi's like things in Mass Effect 3 are so fucking forgettable. Like they were clearly not high on the priority. But next up was Legion, who we mentioned a bit earlier. He's the first kind of goody Geth, and he brings so much value to me in terms of like the lore and explaining the Geth, and he kind of explains that the Geth in the first game were not like what the Geth are. They were like heretics. They were like a branch of the Geth that the way they work, they're like the body of a Geth is not what the Geth are. They're one collective.
Yeah, they're a hive mind.
Yeah.
And his insight into just the way his society works, because it isn't. There's no individual, but they use the different perspectives of where each body is to inform like their.
Yeah, it is genuinely like they're like ants. They're working together with that hive mind, like you said. It's like a hive, and they're very efficient because of that and scary.
And there's an awesome touch when you talk to Legion, because he's got an N7 shoulder plate, and he got that because he was looking for Shepard's body, and he received damage, and he claims that he only put it on to fix it, to fix his damage. But something about it, like you don't, you know, there's more
identify.
To it. He's like just got that tinge of personality, like he's breaking away from.
I don't know if it's the performance, whoever's doing that voice.
Yeah.
And just the delivery.
We have completed our analysis of the Reaper's data core.
Like the way he says Shepard Commander. I don't know, it's like fucking iconic from the first time he says it.
Shepard Commander.
But yeah, such an important character. And the Geth, like the Geth morality thing, and the way they go from being like the scariest enemies to almost one of the most sympathetic races in 3.
Yeah, essentially they were made by the Quarians. And
they scared the Quarians because they were too advanced, and the Quarians killed them. They tried to get rid of them.
They started attacking them.
So they were just defending themselves. It's
Yeah.
like you're just like born, and then you're like, "What? You made me. You're trying to kill me now." Like, what?
Yeah, it's like if humans came into existence and the god that made humans is just like, oh shit,
yeah,
just starts trying to kill you.
And again, they are so crucial to the whole world building because it is a reflection of the Reapers and everything, and
the
AI fighting routine shit. Samara.
Tell me what I need to know. And
Samara's super interesting, actually. Her missions, because one of them, the first one takes place on Ilium, is it?
Ilium, yeah.
Ilium is the. Is that the homeworld of the Asari? No,
it's just an Asari world. It's sort of the
like
third major hub planet.
That's right.
in the
Yeah,
game.
it's almost like a stock broker, like as a planet or something.
It's like to me, it's the in between of Omega, which we'll talk about in a bit, and the Citadel. The Citadel's all like pristine and
true,
shiny, and Omega's scummy as fuck and got all this conflict and crime going on just 24/7. Ilium is this sort of in between. It's like a pretty place, but it's got this seedy underbelly, and it's like a trade post that's got loads of lore. Like it doesn't have the hard lore that the Citadel has.
But what does have a lot of hard lore is Samara and what she is, being a Justicar, which is, I remember like playing this mission when I first played this game, and like just not understanding like any of it, because it's probably the like lore heaviest side story. Just understanding like what the fuck a Justicar is, and like they're like weird systems that they have going. It goes pretty deep with this one in particular. But I think it's cool. It's a cool payoff. I'm trying to remember the exact detail of what a Justicar is. They're like sex addicts.
Is that not the Arda Yakshi?
Sorry, yeah. No, I'm getting confused.
No, Samara's a
because
Justicar.
this is what I mean about her whole story. It's like multiple layers of like Asari lore stacked on top of each other.
It's so fucking good.
It is really good.
Samara is a Justicar, which means she follows like a hyper strict rule set. She brings people to justice. She's essentially a spectre.
What is it that makes someone a Justicar though?
I'm pretty sure you choose to be a Justicar.
Really? Because I thought it was something. No, keep going. I'm going to have to visit the wiki for this one.
Samara, if we're going to go over her whole story, Samara has 3 children, and they're all Ardat Yakshis, which we'll talk about in a moment. But one of her children basically went bad, and because of this, Samara became a Justicar so she could bring her daughter to justice for doing evil deeds. She's like a spectre, but specifically for the Asari.
That's right. Yeah.
She's above the law in some sense, but also if she breaks the law, she has to be brought in by the police. But her rules means she can't stay in custody for longer than like 48 hours. Then she has to break out and kill everyone on the way.
Yeah.
So that's the motivation for her mission. She's trying to track down her daughter, but she needs to be arrested.
Yeah.
For being there.
Yeah, awesome idea.
Yeah, so the deal is you get the intel within 48 hours, and then she'll come with you.
Yeah, to help you on suicide mission. But it's her loyalty mission that I enjoyed the most. We go to that dingy bar in Omega, trying to find her daughter Morinth. And you're tasked with like, you've just got to get her back to like your room, basically.
You need to pull Samara's daughter.
Yeah, which the trick is basically just to be renegade. It wins her over.
Yeah, apart from on the dance floor.
Yeah,
that might be the best like Mass Effect.
The ongoing gag.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bad dancing thing's hilarious.
Yeah, that moment is great.
But the odd that Yakshi was trying to say, like, it's like a condition, I guess, the Asari have, where they're so powerful that when they mate, they kill whoever they mate with.
Yeah, they like singe their mind, and they become more powerful the more minds they singe.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's kind of like the power corruption thing, where it's like you're just like addicted to like killing people.
And becoming more
like
and
seducing
more
people and just killing them again and again. Yeah, and you get addicted to it.
The mission is based around someone she's already killed.
Yeah.
And you investigate, and you investigate what this person who was killed, like the stuff she said that Morinth is into. So you get all this information, then you use it to essentially seduce Morinth.
Yeah, which is a standout to me because it's a non-combat loyalty mission.
And I think those are the best loyalty missions.
I'm trying to think what other ones are non-combat, because that's the main one in my mind.
Thane.
Yeah, those are two of the best ones as well.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, back to Samara. Yeah, so after you manage to get Morinth back to her apartment, Samara bursts in.
And well, you have multiple choices in how you choose to play out like the conflict there, because you can either go back with Samara or have Morinth just join under the guise of Samara.
Yeah. You can choose who dies because they're in like a biotic battle.
Yeah.
And then again, one of those choices that's kind of like, what?
Why could I just... There's genuinely no payoff in 3 either.
Yeah. But no, from what I understand, if you take Morinth, she just dies in suicide mission no matter what.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
There's actually a game over as well. Like, if you mate with her, you just get killed. Which is funny.
But yeah, that's a choice where it's like, what? But
yeah, you notice as we're talking and we're breaking down like the specific choices and things, the way it's integrated into 3 is just like, it's just nothing. Like,
yeah. But it is a choice. I'm glad.
Yeah,
it's there.
Yeah. Tali, it's Shepard. Shepard?
Tali.
I'd
forgotten how good her stuff in this game is.
I think her loyalty mission is the best loyalty mission in the game.
Really, I'm torn between hers and Mordin's, I think. Yeah, hers is really good because she's in the game 3 times because she's in that first mission too.
She might get out of all the characters you don't start with, being like Miranda and Jacob. I think she gets the most time.
Yeah,
which is genius in my opinion. So I think she needed more at Mass Effect 1.
Oh yeah,
the Quarian's really interesting. The Quarians tie in heavily to the Geth.
Yeah.
So there
was just there wasn't really much room for them in 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do. Their society gets explored way more in 2.
Yeah. So we've talked about the Geth, but the Quarians, the race that made the Geth, the AI. After they made the Geth, they started a war with the Geth. And they were driven off their own planet by the Geth. So now they're like a spacefaring fleet that just go around salvaging
the whole the whole way their race works is that once you get to a certain age, you go off on a pilgrimage with your goal being to bring back something of use for the flotilla, so everyone's bringing back stuff from all over the galaxy. It's a cool idea and it makes sense.
Super cool.
Yeah. How they like progress.
The reason they wear these suits, it's really interesting actually, because they on their home planet, for one reason or another, they sort of needed bacteria to survive. So they developed a really low immune system, so they could take in all these bacteria. Because the bacteria were like. They wouldn't cause illness. They improved you.
Right, yeah.
So they had naturally low immune systems.
So leaving that environment.
Then when they were driven out of that environment and then just stayed in space for generations,
Well, yeah, again, we mentioned this in our first video. It's humans in space. Just the amount of stuff you have to think about just to get a human to, like, be up there for a few months, even a few weeks. It's like, So, yeah, taking that to the next level of, like, a race that's just been living out there with the technology.
I don't understand how Mass Effect manages to make so many different, like, alien species and make them so unique and detailed.
They're as unique as, like, all the different countries on Earth are. They all feel as like rich and like they have that much history and that much going on for them. Yeah, Tali's the mission where you kind of get her on your team is a Geth-related one with. They actually teased Dark Space. It was supposed to be the mission that was supposed to be teasing the original ending for 3. This Dark Space thing. Again, it doesn't do enough setup to really explain what that would have been particularly, or it's never elaborated on. But it does give that level a kind of fun gimmick where you can't go into the light.
Gameplay-wise, probably the best mission in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could agree with that. The gimmick is actually works. It makes the combat a bit more fun. You fight like a Geth armature thing from the first game as like a boss, and it's not like a joke like in the first game.
You don't just drive into it and sort of sit on top of it.
But it's her loyalty that is really
which
interesting.
Which is informed by the mission you get her, because her mission is to salvage a bunch of like Geth equipment.
That's right.
Send it back to the flotilla, and then she's accused of treason because the stuff she sent back, the Geth stuff she sent back, started killing everyone on the ship.
Yeah.
And so the mission, the loyalty mission, starts off with her like in trial.
Mm-hmm. But her dad, she doesn't know what's happened with her dad.
Yeah.
On the ship, that it's gone dark. So you have that whole angle as well.
Yeah, so it's revealed that he was, probably killed by the Geth, which is a surprise to her. And you sort of play lawyer for her, which is a really fun little
makes sense.
mix-up.
It's like a good way of implementing that dialogue system too. It just fits.
And it totally fits because they explain that like the captain of the ship is sort of your like, you know.
I spent ages just talking to the different Quarian leaders.
Yeah.
And hearing all their different perspectives, because they all have like a different take on like the Geth and how it should be handled.
Yeah, and a different take on the situation at hand. They have all these. The people that are against you or against Tali are more informed by the whole situation. Mm-hmm. It's essentially, do they want to go back to war with the Geth or do they not want to?
Yeah.
But talking to them changes how you can finish the loyalty mission.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you talk to them all, you find out that it's just a politics game. It's not about the situation at hand.
Of course, yeah.
And the renegade lines in that mission when you're talking to the generals is so cool.
Really satisfying.
It's
Tali's achievements are the only evidence you should need. Come on, Tali. We're leaving.
What? This is a formal proceeding.
What are you gonna do, exile her? We're probably not walking away from our next mission alive anyway.
Because sometimes I feel the voice actor of Shepard is quite robotic. Male Shepard.
He can be, like kind of cartoony sometimes.
Yeah. But when he's just so perfect for lines like that, where he's really just sticking it to someone.
Yeah.
You know, he sounds like a commander.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which totally works. So that line alone just makes that mission special to me, or those lines, the renegade option there.
And I suppose the outcomes with the choices, it has more weight because I guess you care about what Tali thinks of you, and you want her to like you, I guess. And
and through the gameplay part, the combat, because this is why it's my favourite loyalty mission. It starts off, it's a dialogue section, which is awesome in Mass Effect. You learn a bunch of stuff, then you can talk to these people. Optional content.
The premise is instantly interesting.
Yeah.
The mystery.
Then you fly off to this other ship where the Geth attacked due to Tali, supposedly. You're there to find out the truth. You do some combat, classic Geth stuff in Mass Effect. There's a reveal, being that Tali's dad is the reason that everything happened. He repaired the Geth and they started attacking or whatever it is. And then you're hit with the moral decision that's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
Tali asks you, don't tell them what my dad did. Because I want to preserve his legacy, because you find his dead body. But in doing that, she will be excommunicated from the group.
Yeah.
So then the mission ends on a now more informed dialogue bit about the same subject as the first one. It's just a perfectly designed Mass Effect section.
Yeah. That does really stand out. Like just fucking nailing it.
Here for something else? Vorcha? Crew to clean them out? Unlikely. Vorcha a symptom, not a cause.
We got to talk about Mordin, man, because I think Mordin's the best character in Mass Effect.
In all three?
Yeah. I think he's the best character.
You can't face the truth, can you? Can't admit that your brilliant mind led you to commit an atrocity!
Unacceptable experiments. Unacceptable goals. Won't change. No choice. Have to kill you.
He has so much going on, and like the way he changes over 2 and 3 as well. But he's immediately like magnetic. He's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, like just times 1,000.
Just need to finish up here at the clinic. Won't take long. Meet you at your ship. Looking forward to it.
He's like an even more genius Sherlock Holmes type figure, but he's also like a scientist, and he used to be like a military.
He's connected to the
Mass Effect
We
1.
will hold the line.
Yeah, they're like the Spec Ops, like Solarians, basically, which explains why he's so like adept. But yeah, we mentioned earlier you have to track him down, and he's an Omega in a quarantine.
I told you to get lost, lady. The plague has the whole zone quarantined. Nobody gets in.
Trying to formulate a solution to a virus that is spreading through the depths of Omega, through a section of Omega that affects every race except humans. So everyone there is like suspicious of the humans, and they assume it was the humans who spread it, which isn't actually the case, but it's an interesting dynamic going on.
I can't remember what actually is.
I'm pretty sure the collectors were using the Vorcha to spread it through.
That's right, yeah.
Collectors want plague!
So I think the Vorcha are immune as well.
Yeah, the Vorcha were as well, sorry. But like, everyone in the Mass Effect universe hates the Vorcha. Everyone hates the Vorcha, which is kind of funny. They're considered like pests. Everyone's like referring to them as like, they're just mindless, like horrible things that just like, they're just waiting to...
They are gross.
They are gross, yeah. They're my least favourite race. Fuck the Vorcha.
So you agree with all the other races?
Maybe. It's the fact they've always got like their mouths open.
And they've all got that same horrible nasally voice. Yeah.
I think they're actually voiced by the shepherd, male shepherd.
Really?
I think so. But yeah, going back to Mordin.
At least the Vorcha are dead. Hope you killed them all for what they did here.
Figured you'd be against killing, Professor.
He's one of the most crucial characters because of his link to the genophage, and that's what his loyalty bores into. But what do you think of the mission where you get him, that one on Omega, in that quarantine, where you have all these optionals, like side rooms you can find with these people like hiding away in flats, and it's like a really interesting scenario.
Yeah. Briefly before I forget, because I remember this in this mission in particular, you find a room with a bunch of audio logs. Why were audio logs done the way they were done in Mass Effect 2? They are so bad.
Oh, where they're like on the dialogue tree for some reason.
Yeah, so sometimes they'll be on the dialogue tree and you play one, and then you have to stand near it and just wait. You can't...
not very elegant.
Yeah, and there are other ones where you just press A or whatever, spacebar, whatever, and it will start playing a thing, and if you walk too far, it just stops. That really bad. I don't know why they even bothered putting them in if that's going to be the case.
Yeah,
that's just
annoying.
Wasting your time.
Because that has that room with the audio logs of the people like...
Yeah.
Get us soon.
Yeah, really cool audio logs.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But like, why you gotta make it such a ball ache? Bioware, come on. That mission in particular is like just drilled into my mind. It's such an atmosphere, like such a thick atmosphere with the music and everything, and just the sounds of like people coughing constantly.
The music too.
Yeah.
The build up, the opening section of that level before you've got to Mordin has a really strong atmosphere.
Yeah, and the side rooms that you mentioned, you can save people, guide them to like to Mordin's clinic.
Yeah, there was one I'd never done before, that I'd just never found when I'd played the game before.
Yeah, I found 2 humans that I
that was what I found that I'd never done before.
Yeah, cool little details there. And you finally reach Mordin, and he refuses to leave until you get his like. Wait, no, he's got a cure, but he wants you to find his sidekick as well.
Yeah. So
when you find his sidekick, Dr. Boy, he's being like held hostage in a room of Batarians. And this is one of the really good decision moments. You can decide to just talk the Batarians down, and then they let him go. And that's the end of it, right? What I did was I got them to surrender, put their guns down, and then we gunned them all down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Because I was just Paragon, so...
Yeah, because there's a group of Batarians like going around hunting humans because they blame humans, even though it wasn't the humans. So, yeah, morally it's pretty fucked up, but like it feels right in a military sense.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the guy you save is like really pissed off at you because he's there to save lives, and he basically just got like 5 dudes killed.
Which goes into Mordin's whole struggle he has, because there's a similar sort of conflict in his loyalty mission, where he's going there. He goes to the Krogan homeworld because he hears about. Is it someone he used to work with? Someone who worked for him, like his old.
Yeah, they worked together. He was like the mentor of this
the mentor.
Solarian.
Yeah. He's heard through the grapevine that he's been like captured or something, or that he's being
the blood pack.
Yeah, that he's being forced to try and cure the genophage. So you go as Shepard to investigate and find out what's going on. And it conspires that he actually wanted to be there by choice because he regretted what they did with the genophage and fucking the Krogans over, which leaves you with a moral choice. A fairly big one, which again I don't know how much it plays into Mass Effect 3, because again I remember it being one of those choices that when I played Mass Effect 2 it was like, yeah, this will be an important one. I don't know
how much it can affect the game, because it kind of is side content. You don't have to do it to finish Mass Effect 2.
But the point of the mission though is that they basically have cured it, right? They have a bunch of really crucial information.
Yeah, there's a bunch of research that's been obtained at the expense of pretty much torturing loads of Krogans, and humans, and
so you've got to decide. It's more interesting what it brings out of Mordin.
Yeah,
the way he's reacting to it, and the cogs turning in his mind, like him coming to the realization that maybe playing God isn't everything it cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And that he can't really live with the consequences.
Yeah.
As he thought he might.
There's some really interesting dialogue with Mordin though, where he blames the Solarians for all of it. Because what I didn't realise with the Krogan was that they weren't ready for space travel.
Yeah. They were massively influenced.
Yeah, they were just brought in by the Solarians. They were like, go kill the Rachni. And giving this like primitive life just loads of resources, firepower and all this stuff.
It destroyed the homeworld.
Yeah, they ended up just ruining the Krogan ecosystem. So then the genophage sort of had to be introduced.
Yeah.
because they meddled with this.
Yeah, they just wouldn't stop meddling.
Yeah. Yeah, which makes the with that information, it makes your choice even harder.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, yeah, the genophage did kind of need to happen, but only because the Solarians fucked up so bad.
Yeah, I absolutely love the genophage conflict in Mass Effect.
Yeah. It's some of the best like sci-fi backstory history in any thing I've ever experienced.
I know it's not in Mass Effect 2, but I just really like the Mordin payoffs in 3.
Yeah.
And like the different options.
Yeah, he feels like a character that they had a plan for.
And he is one of the characters that benefits most from going to visit him regularly. I just feel like every conversation you have with him is interesting in some way. Whereas, if you go into Jacob now and again, like maybe not. Can we talk about Jacob?
Yeah.
Well, I got pinged by a ghost the other night.
It's only a waste of time if you jerk me around. What is it?
Here's how I would fix Jacob, right? Get rid of him and replace him with Kai Leng or an equivalent type character.
Yeah. No, I was thinking this as well. I think Mass Effect 3 needed one of your squad mates to stay with Cerberus.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it would have made sense to have your Miranda being the kind of goody role, and then the Jacob should have been more of an evil. He's going to stay with the Cerberus. Yeah,
and even if they kept it the same way, where Jacob is much more like understanding and not on Cerberus's side, where Miranda's sort of a shill for Cerberus, if they could have done it in Mass Effect 3.
I even think make Jacob the genetic created thing, and then like make like Miranda the like daughter of the elusive man, and have her be evil or something.
Yeah.
I just think Jacob's just like not very interesting.
No, not at all. He
just is not very important. Even in 3, and like the way he comes back, and it's like when he shows up in 3, you're like, oh yeah, Jacob. It's like that kind of reaction.
No, it's
his loyalty is
for real.
Is kind of weird. It just feels rushed again. It just feels like
he almost feels like a DLC character.
Yeah, it does almost. Which is weird because he's one of the first characters you interact with in the game. First bit of combat is with him.
I think Bioware really struggle with the human characters because like there's just so much less to work with. There's nothing to learn about the human race.
I don't know, but like
from Mass Effect,
the elusive man's a human.
Anderson's but you can never have the same sorts of
with the squad mates in particular. I don't think I've ever cared about one of the human squad mates.
You know what? I reckon James is better than both Miranda and Jacob.
Yeah,
maybe not Miranda.
I think James has more.
Which is
more
like,
emotion
from when you first meet James in Mass Effect 3. He's just like this Gears of War character running around.
But his like whole motivation is to do the collectors and stuff. Whereas
I love that backstory. I think it's awesome. But anyway, this is Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, Jacob and Miranda, the Cerberus too. His loyalty mission's about like his dad.
It's like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, he's like screwing over his crew, and they're like going crazy.
Yeah, he makes himself a sort of a cult leader through the local flowers that make people dumb.
Yeah, weird mission.
Yeah, that one is probably the worst loyalty that I can think of. Yeah, it's the worst.
Well, you alluded earlier to like the worst character or whatever. Who was it? Who do you think's the worst one?
Base game, Jacob.
So
I think they just didn't give him enough.
He definitely needed a lot more. I don't think I've ever brought him on a mission. I haven't had to.
No, there's no like character defining drive for him.
Like what is his personality? He's just kind of
a good guy.
Yeah, he's just like pretty good. He doesn't really have any flaws. He's like too good.
Yeah.
Which is like already what Miranda's whole thing was, is that she's like genetically made to be perfect. That's her. That's more of like he just seems redundant. Like every other character has such a strong, like defining aspect to them. He really stands out as like what?
I think one of them should have really, either Miranda or Jacob should have been really like anti-alien or something. Give you that Cerberus reason to not like them. But they're both just like, Miranda's a bit of a dick to you, but then that stops relatively quickly, and then Jacob.
But yeah, she was the lead on the Lazarus project, so she's always invested in you, and there's like a reason to be there. Jacob's kind of like a biotic soldier guy who works for Cerberus. I mean,
yeah, he's just weak.
Shepard, I find myself in the unpleasant position of asking for your help. I don't like discussing personal matters, but this is important.
Yeah, Miranda, her loyalty with her sister.
Yeah.
I just find the thing I find weirdest about her loyalty mission is that her sister doesn't seem to have like a custom character model that like really stands out as being her sister.
They're genetically the same, but they look totally different.
yeah, that is confusing.
It's really weird. Yeah, and she's just like an NPC on Ilium.
Yeah,
it is odd. But I think the actress does quite a good job with this character.
She does. She does do a good job.
That is a major thing with Miranda, is her like design.
Yeah, it's what we were saying about Mass Effect 1, where it was somehow avoiding that like trying to be cool, like Zack Snyder teenager thing, where it's like, yeah, this is what the hot babe in the sci-fi one.
I think Bioware got progressively hornier throughout the game.
Yeah, by the time you get to ED in 3, it's just like, what are you doing?
Fucking biggest robot ass I ever seen.
Because ED's actually in 2, and just it's like a talking pussy.
Yeah.
I like ED in 2 though, because like Joker,
she's good. She's good.
Hates her. He doesn't like that she has control over anything.
I enjoy the sight of humans on their knees. That is a joke.
Right.
And he grows to like
there's a little arc there.
Anything else on Miranda? I don't really care about her loyalty mission, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't like that one.
It's very combat heavy.
Yeah. She gets one, or you get one choice. Her informant guy betrays her.
That's right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's fine. It doesn't stand out as bad. It's just like in the middle somewhere.
It
gives you enough for her.
It gave me enough to make me not dislike her. And I like the fact that she's this, because she's this genetically made, like, perfect human, her philosophy is that anything she does well is just thanks to her genetics, but every failure is her fault. It's her being shit.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool thing for someone to grapple with.
Yeah, she has a very clear, defining, like, character.
Yeah.
You know?
Killing mercs is hard work, especially on my own.
Garrus, the bro of Mass Effect.
Yeah. He's just obviously great. I think his introductory mission is perfectly done.
Shepard.
It's one of my favorite missions, I think, too. I love that you can like hack that mech to help you.
Yeah. And you can electrocute the guys fixing the ship.
Yeah.
You're working too hard.
Like just being able to set up before you know something that's going down is always like fun. And you have like a fight against a ship thing that blasts Garrus in the face.
Yeah. I wonder if they had Garrus get scarred at the beginning to make him more distinct from other Turians. Because a lot of the alien races were just in media.
Because his only defining thing in 1 really is his blue. Like just the blue armor.
And he's got the monocle.
And his voice, obviously. But honestly, he's probably not essential, but he is essential. You know, like he's not actually providing the story, like, you know, like Tali, it's like giving so much with like the Geth and shit.
Yeah.
Garrus, he doesn't need to be that. He's like he's
just the guy you can rely on. He'll have your back.
He's always choose to lead in Suicide Mission because he can't die if he's loyal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did the same. I love the evolution of his character though. From Mass Effect 1, where he's the CSEC policeman. And he's tired of all the bureaucracy.
The red tape, yeah.
Yeah. So
then
then
to Omega.
Then he joins you in Mass Effect 1. And through... This is such a cool detail, because throughout Mass Effect 1, if you're renegade to him, then you sort of teach him, like... Killing is kind of the best thing to do. Like, every situation. Or the opposite if you're Paragon. And then that influences how he behaves in Mass Effect 2. He becomes a mercenary after you die at the beginning. And he had a team who was betrayed by a guy. And now he wants revenge. So then in the loyalty mission where you're getting revenge for Garrus, if you make certain comments, like, maybe you shouldn't kill this guy. Maybe it will just make things worse. He'll say, what are you talking about? You're the guy that's always said to me, like...
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, details like that. Yeah, and he's had that time to be alone and, you know, not rely on Shepard to be...
Yeah, he somehow manages to fall into that, like, archetype of, like, the cool one on the team, but it's without, like, Miranda-ing it in that same way. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that same idea of, like, the cool thing, but they just do it so effortlessly, and, like, the scar and everything, and the...
Yeah, it just makes him cooler.
Human, female.
Grunt is awesome. He's great.
Yeah.
He's a great character.
Yeah, he's funny because he's like the genetically perfect Krogan.
Yeah, they had a whole genetically perfect thing going on with Mass Effect 2. Like, they loved that.
I guess they wanted to carry on the, like, Lazarus type thing of people, like, being made.
Yeah.
Grunt has, like, the best Krogan DNA from the strongest Krogans that have ever lived.
He's got a great introduction because, again, if you're playing this game for the first time, it's like this warlord Krogan Okia. Go get this guy.
Yeah.
And then you do his whole mission and he's being attacked by some mercenary team. He's just trying to keep this Krogan in a bottle alive.
Yeah.
And then you go and do a boss fight, go back into the room, and
He's been,
Okia is
like,
dead.
poisoned, yeah.
You're just like, I guess we'll take the bottle Krogan.
And you choose when you want to open it.
Yeah, or if you want to open it. You can just not open them. It's an okay mission. It's kind of combat heavy, but it's got some cool moments. I like if you save the Asari scientist from Mass Effect 1 who's working on the genophage cure.
Yeah.
She turns up in that mission. You can save her. Because I've been renegade, I didn't just let her die. But I just made it... I was just a dick about it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, on the Garrus mercenary thing, I think it's cool that when you're going, like, when you're on Omega and you're, like, you have to go talk to the mercenary hirer guy, and there's that little moment where there's the kid who comes in with his gun,
Yeah.
and you get a little choice there. It's all those moments that, like, bring it together. There's only one more aside from Grunt, who I guess we're not finished with. His loyalty is to fight a Threshamore.
Yeah, he's got to prove that he needs to enter a clan. That's his whole thing.
Because he feels like he's like going through puberty, and he's like he's like mad, and
he's
he
really
feels
angry.
unbalanced.
He feels like he doesn't have a purpose. He's got all this rage but nowhere to direct it. So his loyalty is joining you
have to go to Rex and, like, what is wrong with the Krogan?
Yeah, if you manage to save Rex in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, so it's a good just Krogan lore mission. It's awesome.
And having the Threshamore in there's cool too.
Yeah.
Without it being, like, obnoxious exploration stuff.
They have this little thing where a Krogan doesn't like that Grunt is just like a manufactured test tube Krogan. Pisses him off. And he doesn't think he should be, like, allowed.
Again, I don't think it's, like, the strongest, but it's just, like, solid, like, does what it needs to. No, sorry, there's two more, Jack and Thane. Start with Jack.
I like Jack.
I like Jack as well.
I think Jack is a good character. Yeah,
Prison escape.
The whole mission where you get Jack is quite contrived. It's very silly. Like, they want to have a prison escape mission.
Yeah, it suffers for that rush thing we were saying earlier.
Yeah. Because the setup is, we're going to sell you this prisoner, and then they're like, come through here. So you go through there, and then they say you're more valuable as a prisoner. Than
so they can fight. It would have been cool if they could have somehow figured out a way for maybe to have a non-combat option. Maybe the Renegade Wave
something
combat,
like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. But
it just seems so silly. Everyone knows who Shepard is.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even try this? You know what he's done.
Yeah.
He's literally died and come back. What the fuck are you doing? So, yeah, it's just silly, but it's quite a fun mission.
Yeah.
A good setting.
Yeah, even the boss is okay at the end with the gimmick of the like shield things you got to take down before you can kill them and stuff.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
What about her loyalty then when you go to the Cerberus base, because that's her like story, isn't it? It's all linked.
She inherently doesn't trust you because she was experimented on to become like a biotic, just OP beast.
Yeah,
and her loyalty mission is good. You go back to where she was, the Cerberus facility, where she was experimented on and made to fight other kids and stuff. It's less of an overall lore thing on like a race, and it's more it informs you about Cerberus and reminds you why you're supposed to not like Cerberus. And it makes you sympathize with Jack.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say on the Jack one, but I like her loyalty probably more than the prison break.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Thane then?
He smiles up at me, broken teeth and scabby knees, bare feet black. A dead-end future looking up at me, worshipping the petty gifts I offer.
He was always one of my favourites.
Thane is my favourite.
Is he?
Yeah. I fucking love Thane.
So he's a new race for Mass Effect 2. They're not in 1. I can't remember what they're called. Drell. He has a disease that's killing him.
I'm dying.
That's sort of his character flaw. He's like lived as like an epic assassin his whole fucking life, and but now he knows he's gonna die. He's getting all like philosophical, and he's all thinking about his regrets and his son. And
did you do all the dialogue with him?
Yeah, he's just been quite a few weeks.
He has some awesome backstory, because this is a race we've never met before. They can just use him as like an exposition machine. So the reason he's dying is because the Drell are used to like arid weather. On their home planet, it was
they've
dry.
got like gills or something, don't they?
They're like lizards.
Yeah, that's right. They're more like lizards.
Yeah, they've evolved to live in dry, deserty sort of lands. I think they got overpopulated, if I remember correctly. So they got overpopulated, then they started warring with each other, and then the Drell were dying out. So then the Hanar come in, the jellyfish guys, to basically save this race of aliens. But because they're like jellyfish things, their planets are really wet and stuff. And when a Drell lives in a wet climate, it fucks with their lungs, because they're not designed to breathe that. So that's why
I'd forgotten about the whole Hanar thing.
That's why he's so like spiritual, because the Drell live
because the Hanar they're a spiritual jellyfish race.
And the Hanar use the Drell as weapons now, because the Drell are like useless physically.
You mean
unless they're not the Drell, sorry, the Hanar are useless physically, but they use the Drell as assassins and whatnot.
Yeah, and he's got some strange like abilities. He can like, you see him just like vanish. He's just such a good assassin. And he has this quirk where he like, his eyes like change and he starts saying like poetry or something.
No,
what's happening?
Drell have perfect memories for their whole life.
Laser dot trembles on the skull. One finger twitch. He dies. Then the smell of spice on the spring wind.
But like too perfect to the point where they will flash back to a moment and they'll just like say what they're seeing.
Oh, okay.
But they're literally experiencing it. Because he says like it kind of sucks when I remember like getting shot in the knee.
Yeah.
Because like I feel that pain. It's such a cool idea
It's
for
a really cool
species.
idea. Yeah.
He's this...
He'll just be talking and then suddenly he's just like...
Yeah.
The pain washed over me. I could never be... Yeah,
and
never
this...
going to feel the same again.
This goes into something we can briefly talk about, is just the ridiculous step up in like cinematic quality.
Oh, yeah,
from Mass Effect 2 from 1. It is ludicrous. Like, highlighting the Thane, it does these sort of zoom-ins and...
Yeah.
He's talking quickly.
Yeah, lots more like custom animation.
Yeah. And just camera angles.
Yeah, way more angles.
In Mass Effect 1, every time a character has new dialogue, it's just shot reverse.
Mm-hmm.
In this...
They have planned out scenes that they've shot. Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. Honestly, playing this game again has made me lose a bit of respect for The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is less impressive to me now because of how well they nailed it in Mass Effect 2.
Really? That's interesting. How so?
The Witcher 3, is pretty much the same. The same level.
More like Mass Effect 1, where it's like...
No, Mass Effect 2. It's like Mass Effect 2 level, but it came out
4
years later.
Okay.
Yeah. I always thought it was leagues ahead, but it's only a bit ahead, you know?
Yeah.
That's how well Mass Effect 2 did it.
Mm-hmm.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah, no, it was. But Drell's loyalty is like back on Ilium, isn't it? With
No, it's on the Citadel.
Oh yeah,
you
you're right. With Bailey.
To Bailey, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Bailey.
Yeah, because you do the good cop, bad cop thing.
Yeah, and if you're Renegade, if you're Renegade and you're a Spectre, you basically walk in, point a gun at the guy being interrogated and said, "I'm a Spectre, I can just kill you if I want." And then he just tells you,
fast track it. That's funny.
And then you walk out and Thane says, "That might be the fastest interrogation in history."
That may go down in history as the shortest interrogation ever.
You actually get some humor in that level, because there is so much darkness in the game when you get it.
Even in that mission, there's darkness.
Mm-hmm.
But they just sprinkle humor in there. His whole backstory is that he had a wife. People were taking revenge on him because he was this assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And they targeted his wife, so it left his kid without a parent because he was always absent. And he's trying to remedy that in the loyalty mission before you go on
his son's going down the same path he did, where he's becoming an assassin himself.
Yeah.
He's
and
trying to stop it.
Doesn't want him to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny how much they fit into that one Thane mission compared to that Jacob mission.
Yeah, totally. And with the stuff you get from talking to Thane on the ship compared to what you get from Jacob, they definitely just poured love into certain characters.
Yeah.
With the introduction of Thane as well, you're ascending this tower, and
of course, yeah,
you're talking to the survivors of the incident of this assassination, and they're like
cowering in fear.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, this guy was going to kill us," and then suddenly just a blur went past and shot this guy in the head and saved us, and then locked us in here. So they're building up this character, and then you finally see him at the top, and he just swiftly does some badass shit.
I remember being quite disappointed with how little Thane is in 3.
Yeah,
because it's establishing such a cool character, and he just doesn't do that much after it. So that's all the characters, and that is such a meat of the game. That is such a varied fucking. You're going all across the galaxy. So many different types of stories, different tones, different types of stories. You just get so much, and if you're just doing a loyalty mission a night, it's a different story.
Yeah,
it's all feeding into the same thing.
It's like a TV show. Mm-hmm. A really good TV show.
Yeah.
But the advantage with it being a game is that, like you said, every single loyalty mission it's like a different micro game. In this one, you might be navigating a courtroom. In this one, you're interrogating.
Yeah, it's what I mean about them being able to stretch the formula just enough.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that shooting on its own is enough to carry the whole game. It's what they fell on for 3. It's so combat heavy.
Really? I haven't played all that much at 3 yet.
Yeah, so you'd never played, I don't think, any of the DLC before.
No, I hadn't.
So I'm quite familiar with all of them. You got your Lair, Shadowbreaker, Overlord, Arrival are the main ones. And then there's the throwaway Firelord or whatever the hell it's called.
Overlord?
No, I think it is called Fire bullshit.
I thought that was a part of Overlord. Firewalker?
Firewalker? There's like a mission or two that, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Where do you want to start with that?
Well, briefly, Firewalker, Fire Guy, whatever.
The new Mako thing.
Yeah, you drive a little floating thing around and wobble. You go in circles on the ground.
It seemed like they were like, yeah, the Mako was like a thing in the first game. Let's try it again, but in a DLC thing that doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's more like a platforming puzzle with this thing. The combat in it sucks. The platforming sucks. The story stuff in Firewalker is like non-existent. It was the only time when I was playing Mass Effect 2 where I like felt dread with it being there on the galaxy map. I was like, I just want to get it off the galaxy map, but I really cannot be bothered to do this. It's
that stuff is just nothing. It's throwaway tat.
It's just boring. It's the worst thing any content in anything can be. It's just really boring.
What about like let's start with Overlord.
Yeah, Overlord is good.
Yeah, I'd say Overlord is good.
I don't like the vehicle parts. For
it's not great.
I just said. The story is cool though.
Again highlighting Cerberus and how far they're willing to go.
That's right. Yeah, it is Cerberus. They've been testing. It's VI, isn't it?
A Rogue VI or whatever.
Yeah, it's like an expanded version of the Moon Rogue VI.
Yeah.
Apart from this time, they like wired up this autistic guy, who's
that's
like
the
a
reveal
super
at
genius.
the end.
And it's like the most horrific thing in any Mass Effect game ever.
Yeah,
he's got these what's it called?
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange eyes. He's got these.
There's like that song that they made for that moment too. Where it's like these creepy vocals. It's a haunting moment. But I actually, you know, when you open like Google Chrome on your phone, it has like suggested articles.
Yeah.
Around the time the Legendary Edition came out, some game journalist site or whatever had written an article about this DLC, describing it as being ableist. And at the time I hadn't played the DLC. So then that was on my mind when I was playing it again, and I was really trying to wrap my head around what about it would be.
How?
Because the case they were trying to make in the article was that you don't have a choice that's like, you don't have enough choices in terms of how, as Shepard, you can say to the guy. Like, whereas with the Paragon options, you like really tell him like you're a monster. You're not. We're taking him away from you. What you've done here is like horrifying. And I went to the comments of the like clip of that moment on YouTube from like years ago when it would have been uploaded, and loads of the comments were like, yeah, like my brother's autistic and this was like such a powerful reveal, or like yeah, I'm autistic, and it was like interesting to see this play out in the game.
I don't see how it could possibly be ableist.
Is it something to do with like is it like a trope to like use like an autistic person as like
isn't that the exact story of that horror game?
Well, I mean, it's the exact story of a bunch of things, to be honest.
What is? It's like identical though.
Which is the one I played?
Outlast? Outlast in the asylum. You go down to like the Nazi scientist, and there's I'm pretty sure he's an autistic guy named Billy, who's like become the ghost from Outlast.
Okay.
I guess it's kind of tropey, but
the only thing I could say, they only say the word, the doctor says like his autistic brain or something.
Yeah.
That's like the only time it's ever referenced. So, I mean,
I
don't know. It doesn't seem
I think the point is that it's someone taking advantage of an autistic person, and that is wrong. It's not portrayed to be like a good thing and the correct thing to be.
Yeah, it was a very strange article. Maybe someone else can expand in the comments if I'm missing something.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah, I think it's okay otherwise.
Yeah, there are some touches that I thought were neat when you interact with the VI and you sort of get taken away from your squad.
That's right, yeah, and you go into like the digital realm for a little minute.
Yeah, but there's a cool part where you're walking down a hall and there's a door with a little green button on it that you've seen in the game 1,000 times.
That's right, yeah.
And then it starts going across the wall. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, they get creative.
You can like mess with this? It's super cool, and it starts like guiding you through different doors by messing with your expectations.
That's definitely the standout.
Yeah.
Of that whole.
And just on that alone, it is worth playing. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a good bit of side content.
Yeah, and it's a good story.
How did you feel about Lair the Shadowbroker?
Again, I thought it was good. I wasn't blown away by it. I was expecting more, I think.
I could see that based on the way people talk about it.
Yeah, it was. I think it's way overhyped. But saying that, I don't think I wanted more.
Yeah, I think it's the right length for what it is. It's just varied enough. I like the section where you're on the Shadowbroker's ship and you're inside with all those things going.
Yeah, really it looks very cool.
Scenery and stuff.
I wasn't all that jazzed about the combat on top of the ship. Thematically and the way it looks, it's cool, but there's some fun dialogue.
Yeah, seeing Liara again and being
when she's hacking the door and Shepard's like, I wish we could go back to the time where we could just slap Omnigel on this.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, fan service stuff.
I'm cool with that. And then the boss fight's all right. It's a decent boss fight.
What did you think of that creature, the actual Shadowbroker thing, and that reveal or whatever?
Yeah, I'm
and it
cool with it.
Over to Liara.
I like the way Liara sort of owns him. Talking about like the reason you never see that species.
Yeah,
it's cool. And her becoming the Shadowbroker is cool, but kind of weird.
It's cool and weird because it doesn't seem like it had any like point. Or like, why did they do it? Because her whole gimmick is that she's like the Prothean expert.
Yeah.
She's the expert in all the old shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know why they needed to make her like this badass like crime boss. I guess she's really smart. In there she's good at research and stuff. Information broker.
Yeah.
It makes enough sense.
Yeah, I always enjoy playing through Shadowbroker.
Yeah, I think the taxi chase. It's weirdly fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, if they just had more stuff like that and no Firewalker, I'd be fine with that if that's the vehicle extent. Maybe just like it,
because it's more about the story than and what the characters are saying over like a huge world to explore type, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool to fly through Coruscant in Anakin's yellow little taxi thing. Arrival's really good.
Yeah,
I like Arrival.
It's crucial because as we were saying, the main plot doesn't really give 3 anything to like start with, apart from the looming threat of the Reapers, which was set up in 1.
Yeah.
So Arrival's quite crucial to remind you. Yeah, we're like nearly there, by the way, actually, and you're gonna fucking kill all the Batarians pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Again, another silly moral choice where it's like cool Joker or save like millions of lives.
Well, it's interesting. That mission out of most seems to be written in a way where like it has to go a certain way. Shepard is knocked out at a certain time in a certain place, so there's a period of time where the Batarians can't be properly like warned in a reasonable way. Because they have to die, basically. That relay has to go for the story to even work. But
yeah, and there's some fun little gameplay mix-ups with you get to control a robot for
you're by yourself for the whole thing.
Yeah, I like that. It almost makes me wish they did that a little bit more. Not often or anything, but
it really helps with variety.
Yeah, having like no one to rely on. Yeah, it's cool. It's a good DLC.
And the conversation you have with is it Harbinger at the end, or is it?
Well, my conversation, because I accidentally did Arrival about halfway through my playthrough of Mass Effect 2. So my conversation was with the Bug King, the collector bug guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a cool detail.
Yeah.
But yeah, so is it Sovereign or no? It is
Sovereign's
Harbinger,
the first one from one that you kill.
Harbinger.
Yeah, Harbinger's the main bad guy. I guess he's controlling the bug thing. Yeah, it's very short as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Did it come out really close to Mass Effect 3?
Yeah. It was like the last DLC for Mass Effect 2. It was the closest.
As that, like, I could see it being really exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of wish I played it at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a hype building DLC for sure. Honestly, that's most of the expanse of like sort of story content. There's bits here and there like Aria and fucking all sorts of like celebrity cameos and stuff. And we got to talk about gameplay of this. We're fucking like 2 hours in. And we haven't even like the sun's setting behind us. We haven't even.
It looks dark as hell.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about gameplay.
Honestly, there's not all that much to talk about. I don't really like the gameplay.
Again, I think it works for this game. I think they're able to make it work within this game just enough. I think it has just enough going on, just enough weapons, just enough like abilities and moves and shit.
Yeah.
They spin it just enough within the design of the levels. Like you said, with that Tali mission with the light that damages you, or
it's
just gimmicks.
The gimmicks hold it all together.
Because of course the RPG stuff is one of the big slights against the game, is that it's so carved back compared to 1 in terms of that stuff. Because they spent 3 months just trying to get the shooting right, which required taking all the RPG stuff out and just trying to build like a shooter foundation, which they didn't have for 1.
Yeah. I mean, It varies between feeling really satisfying and really frustrating. And I think a lot of that comes down to the cover system.
Yeah, the cover system is aged. It's a 2010 cover system for sure.
Totally. It's very Gears of War 1 era inspired.
I definitely had some frustrating moments in the hardest difficulty where I felt like I was dying because of the cover system, not because of what I was doing in the game necessarily. It was just like awkward and like...
Yeah, and it's a strange system where enemies can't seem to hit you if they're parallel to you and you're behind cover. Like, even though they potentially should have an angle on you, they just can't.
Yeah, you're like invincible.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of weird stuff.
The enemy variety, though, I think does help a lot.
Yeah, and the abilities... They sort of did it with Mass Effect 1, but it's like for example, shields and biotic barriers are weaker to high fire rate weapons.
Yeah. There's
armor,
like color coding.
Yeah.
Like armor, barrier,
health. It's like questions and answers. It shows you a thing being yellow armor. Okay, I'll use fire, slow fire rate.
Yeah.
Abilities.
So in saying, there were actual moments where I was getting some like fun combat out of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
I think it feels good. It feels good at the frame rate. It feels good. They have tweaked it slightly. I think it does feel better than on like 360.
Right, I played on PC.
Yeah.
One of the worst things about it though is the gun sounds too high pitched. There's no like power behind it, because I've played a little bit of Mass Effect 3 now, and immediately it's like shit feels tight. It feels good. The recoil's all correct.
Yeah.
So there's some weird like accuracy things in Mass Effect 2, where your crosshair's tiny. You put it over a guy's head, you pull the trigger, you don't get hit.
It definitely has its own quirks.
But like you said, for the most part, it's definitely serviceable. Above serviceable.
Yeah,
it's decent.
I think it works for the game. What about things that aren't shooting, like planet mining? It is an element of the game, and space exploration. You do find the odd side mission.
I found it really satisfying going system to system, 100%ing everything.
Yeah.
Because once you get to a certain point of you've mined enough planets and whatnot, you don't need to anymore. You can just stop doing that. You can just...
The trick is, if you just never mine anything that's under high, you'll just be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but even when you get to ones that are like very high, but you've got 100,000 of everything, just don't bother. You don't need to.
You don't need to.
So that's what I did. I got to like 100k on everything apart from Element 0.
Because, I find the way the upgrade system works to be quite addictive and fun.
Yeah.
That keeps the drive of the combat going for me.
I do kind of wish they made it a bit more obvious about the like gun upgrades for the gun, shield, and armor upgrades for the Normandy. It seems kind of just to fuck you over on your first playthrough.
I think I'd call it like a dialogue check or something, because the only way to do it is to talk to
everyone,
the squad members,
sure you get
and
all
they
the
unlock like upgrades.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because that's what the whole suicide mission is sort of about, is making sure you've used every system in the game. And paid attention to it.
The anomaly missions, way better than 1.
Yeah, I actually like them.
Yeah, they give you just a little bit of story. Normally it is based around some gimmick, like you got to go through like a...
Yeah, again with the gimmicks.
Cloudy.
Yeah, I like that cloudy one with the following the lights that are like all linking to like some protein shit or whatever. That's the kind of side, like optional side stuff that I think like it works quite well.
Yeah, it gives you that galaxy adventure sort of thing, and a little designed mission is always going to be better than some randomly generated just space.
They can put some like fun combat scenarios in it too. Like, there's one that's just like 3 mechs at the same time. Like, can you do it? That kind of stuff.
And just stuff that's like combat that isn't hard, but there's a time limit.
Yeah,
little gimmicks like that. It's just engaging at all times.
Anything else in regard to the gameplay? Yeah, I think that's... How do you feel about the world, how places like Omega, like Ilium, like Citadel, where they're not really level focused, that they're supposed to be like the equivalent of the Citadel from the first game, which is like a sprawling space where you can talk to people and go to the shops and shit.
I think a lot of the side quest stuff to do with them kind of sucks. I don't care for going and buying food.
Or like on Tachanka, there's like a mini game where you can shoot pie jacks. And
and get a discount at the shop. I like the buying upgrades at shops. I like the armor system. Even though most of the armor looks lame, I like using the weird shit.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the way they looked, I wouldn't like them. But they look so phenomenally good, especially Omega. It's got such a vibe.
It does. Yeah, because each like corner of Omega has a different soundtrack to a different song playing.
And like those clubs in Omega with music like that playing, you'd get me going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
never leave.
Yeah. Shout out to Arya as well. I think Arya is a very cool character.
Yeah, you get more of her in that DLC in 3.
Yeah, which I've never played.
Yeah. The last major thing I want to mention is the music. I mentioned in the first on the video we did on the first game that the first game's music shits all over the second, but I was kind of underrating some of the music in 2. I don't think as a whole it's nearly as good as Mass Effect 1's, but it does have the standouts like your Suicide Mission, like the Elusive Man song.
Oh god, yeah.
New Worlds, the spin they did on that. I was half wondering that there's like a couple combat songs that I just hate in this game in the similar way I do in Skyrim. That kind of thing.
It's over familiarity.
Yeah, I was thinking it was probably from doing Mass Effect 2 on the hardest difficulty and that Mordin mission was like just fucked on 360, and there's just certain bit of music from that fucking level.
Yeah,
it's like just permanently associated with misery or something.
Yeah, because I played through it on Insanity or whatever it was on 360. That game is just a nightmare on the hardest difficulty. But yeah, the music is really good, and Suicide Squad is just chills every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
And when you're like, my favorite use of like the music is just like when you're picking like characters, and it's just like the intro Suicide mission. But I don't even know what the fuck sound. Some like synth fucking shit. Yeah, I think that we've covered a fucking lot. We were going to talk about Jar Twitter, but we're like fucking 2 hours in. I could scroll over and have a look. What does your heart say?
How many we got?
People have lots to say, man. Let's do a few. Come on, let's do a couple more. At Soul375 says, when I first played it, I was amazed by how much of a step up it was in production value from the first game. It's still my favourite. I think it's got the best squad, and I like the concept of building a team, and you can't forget about the suicide mission that slaps. At Mr. P says, I'm my best out of the three, most cohesive story and plotline. I really like the idea of Shepard being considered dead for a while and then just coming back thanks to Cerberus. The conflict between free will and Cerberus resulted in some new story beats. Paul Warren says, the suicide mission is the most your choices have consequences sequence in the series. Yeah. Really if you're lazy or make bad calls, characters permanently die and it can lock you out of things in 3. The checks and conditions listed in the wiki are pretty complicated. Yeah, because I had to like look it up because I couldn't remember like what was what. I didn't want anyone to die.
Yeah, I think all Mass Effect 3 needed to do was emulate the suicide mission.
It needed at least an equivalent.
Yeah,
in some way.
Yeah, if they could have, it would have been frustrating as it is that they couldn't implement all the Mass Effect 1 and 2 choices in a satisfying way. But if they could have just made the Mass Effect 3 choices matter within Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Big impact, but they didn't.
And I feel like they were so close too, because they already had the like check the galaxy readiness thing. It'd be cool if that was for like the space part, and then going in, it's like the personal mission with your squad. That's like some goal, some maybe attacking the Elusive Man base could have been some. I don't know, some payoff.
Just anything better than. What we got?
Dreamhouse says, my favourite in the series by far, the continuation of the original's plot with the same tone of mystery, the more gritty parts of the universe being centre stage, and the further development of previous characters, like Tali and Garrus especially, makes it peak Mass Effect. Ziggy Ratmeat says, I was a bit underwhelmed by it, especially after hearing from so many people that it's the best in the trilogy. It's by no means awful, but in the context of the entire trilogy, it feels a bit like a filler episode, sort of boring to me. And this is what is fascinating of people who have never played it before, jumping in to the Legendary Edition, and like you with the Lair of the Shadowbroker and how much has been bigged up. Everyone's always talked about Mass Effect 2 and how good it is, so I'm just wondering how many people feel like Ziggy here.
Well, that does really surprise me, because when I was first getting back, when I bought this trilogy, because I was never into it as much as you or James or Ruben, I was kind of ready to poop all over all 3 of these games, you know, but Mass Effect 2 especially, I've got nothing. I can't toss shade of that game. I prefer the smaller stakes. I always tend to. I prefer to look. Well, it's like a genre. It's like a reflection of the genre. What's good about RPGs? It's like leveling up your squad and shit, and implementing that into the story. So the story is you building a relationship with your squad.
Yeah. There's like a corny thing. Casey Hudson, the director of the Mass Effect trilogy, says in like the documentary in the wiki or whatever about how when you break down the actual plot plot of Mass Effect 2, some people will say, yeah, it was just about like building your team or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that is the story. Like doing that and the experience of going through building up the squad and going through Suicide Mission like is a story.
Yeah, totally. And I can understand why someone that's invested in the whole Reapers thing, I guess, if you just want it to get there,
I guess
crescendo.
To answer the question, I do think it's as good as they say. I think it's the best one in the trilogy.
I agree. I think it's better than they say. I think...
Really?
Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 to me. Although it has flaws, I would willingly just start this game again and go through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of the greats to me. We were praising Mass Effect 1 for that story and world building, but it's just more of that. It's more of that without any of the guff. It's so streamlined.
Yeah. The only parts of the game I didn't like were the DLCs.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing about the game. Like, so much of it is optional. If you don't like the Kasmumi thing, you don't have to do it. You never have to do it again.
Or you can just get her on your team and kill her in Suicide Mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many options with self-contained within too. Yeah. I guess that's what I was trying to explain at the beginning, because it just sitting in the middle is just like so... I just feel like that design, if it had culminated in 3 instead of 2, I
don't think it's possible. I think if you can make the middle thing in your trilogy the best one, you should. Mm-hmm. I think that's the part that's the most interesting and fun. I think I'm okay with the missteps with 1 and like how flawed that game is and how disappointing Mass Effect 3 is, because Mass Effect 2 is so good.
But we'd forgotten how good it was because of 3.
And Andromeda.
Yeah. And Andromeda.
Yeah.
So it is nice to be reminded of, like, 1 and 2 we can hold up there. The same thing happens every time, man. Like I was planning to do a Renegade playthrough of the trilogy, but after finishing 3, I'm like... I have a lot to say about that game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it.
But
how long is it?
It feels fucking long. Yeah, I think we're done here, bro. I mean, we covered pretty fucking extensively
I hope so.
Story of the game and everything and what we like about it, whatever.
If we didn't, then we're not very concise, are we?
Yeah, just rambled on.
Can't even see us anymore.
Yeah, the settings are for when the sun was out. It's like gone down now.
Like,
so
it's like what is it? The fight with you and James.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah, the final fight.
Final fight. Yeah.
So if you got this far, thanks for listening.
Yeah, if you for some reason haven't played this game and have watched 6 hours pre-editing of Mass Effect rambling, then go play the game, you fucking idiot.
Mm.